Hey, James at Barber Creek Long Range Shooting School. Today we are going to cover chewing BCs again. I just want to make sure that everybody's clear on how to do it. I'm going to try to do a step-by-step. First and foremost, go into your ballistic solver, make sure all the gun information is correct. Scope height, measure center scope, center of the bolt, your firing pin hole. You know, in the app you can do it, of course, with the tool. Put in your scope correction factor at what percentage the scope tracks. Select the bullet you're shooting. Make sure all the bullet information is correct. In this case, it's the Hornady factory. This is the 140 ELD match. I'm going to turn off zero scope angle lock. And what I'm going to do is try to get a velocity while I'm shooting the gun at the zero. So what I want to do is, before I start pulling the trigger, I guess I already got a bullet in there. I want to go to the 100 yards, type in 100 yards. I want to set the wind. We got about a 4-mile-an-hour wind from the right, it's coming from 3 o'clock for aerodynamic jump. I'm going to grab the angle that I'm actually zeroing the gun at. And now I'm going to go ahead and shoot a couple rounds. All right, so here we go. Going to 100 yards. Parallax. Looks pretty good. All right. Now I'm going to turn on the camera so you guys can see what I'm seeing. Okay, all right. The wind's actually blowing the zero target all over the place, but we'll make it work. All right, here we go. Something to shoot at. Well, I'm going to make a bullet hole. Okay, that's my aim point. I'm in the bottom right quadrant. I'll draw a little arrow. Same bullet hole or touching, so it looks like our zero's pretty good. Try again. Okay, so they're all pretty good. If my zero was off, I would go down to the zero block and I would say it's a little bit high or a little bit left or right. In this case, it's not. We have an average velocity of 2787. I'm going to drop that in here. 2787. I'm going to hit set. I will now turn on my scope angle lock. So at this point, we're going to run it out to 1,000. So we're going to type in 1,000 yards, hit set. Grab the azimuth and the inclination to our target, which is over there. All right, it's saying dial 28.5 minutes. Oh, I almost forgot. I have to reset my turret, all right, because I had to come up a little bit. All right, here we go. Looks good. All right. 28.5. Okay. All right, so I'm going to put the Garmin back up and we're going to run out to 1,000. So stand by while I set up the camera. Okay, I got our camera set up. I'm going to keep the chronograph going. The reason I'm doing that is that way I can see if there's any fluctuations in velocity. I reset the turret, so I'm going to go back there and make sure. All right, 28, 2 clicks. Okay. All right. Let me check everything. Parallax real quick. I'm going to keep it at about a 4-mile-an-hour wind. So here we go. And we're shooting at the golf ball. We're going to push right. Okay. Pretty close. Let's try another one. Level's good. It was high. Velocity is 2785. All right, let's get back on it. Pushing right 2 minutes. Not that high, okay. Different box of ammo, but same lot number. What I do is I never adjust off a single bullet because that velocity was 2792. All right, That's why I like having a chronograph up here so I can see if it's ammo or it's the actual gun or data. All right, pushing right 2 minutes. It's about that high. So I'm gonna bring it down to quarter. We're getting really close. Though it did spike up to 27.97, I probably shouldn't have come down to quarter. I mean, I'm like an inch from it. So I'd say our data's pretty good. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into our solver. We're gonna go ahead and click on the settings, go down to ballistic coefficient. We're gonna click on the little dot next to it. Let me get this sharp out of here. And it says that we should be at 28.5 and we're at 28.75, so 28.75. Hit set, it says, well, our BC is not 2979, it's 0.2963. It's also telling us we should have done this near 1,135 yards. We're close enough, but we're at Mach 1.306. So this is a good initial truing. I'm gonna hit set. I'm gonna go straight out to the 500 because I wanna do it far and close. Let's type in 502 yards. It says 9 minutes. So we're gonna go to 9 and we're gonna go straight to 502 yards. And it says push right 3/4. So 500 yards, okay. We're gonna shoot plate number 2. Oh, helps if I put the camera on standby. All right, so what I'm doing is I'm checking far and I'm checking near for our BC. And make sure the wind hasn't changed. Okay, we're gonna push right 3/4. Right in the bullseye. So you can see our BC was grayed out at 1,000. Our BC is good at 500. We've done our near and far check and our ballistic coefficient. At this point, we're ready. All right, I would probably check it in an intermediate, like at 800 yards, which I'm sure it'll be just fine, but let's just try 702 since the camera's up, shot out that way. It says 15.75, 15.123. Again, it's a good idea to keep the chronograph running so you can see if there was a velocity spike on your testing. We'll go to 700. Okay, right next to the bullseye. And it was recording, yes, okay. All right, so from there, I guess we're gonna go ahead and try it at like 800 yards. So let's try 802. And it's saying 19.75. Okay, let me bring this camera over to the 800 yards. There we go. All right, here we go. All right. All right, we are going to push right, not much, maybe half a minute. Perfect. So as you can see, our BCs were good at close range, far range, intermediate ranges, just by truing at that Mach 1.3, or basically truing at 1,000 yards. We're well in front of that, 15% in front of transonic. So that's why we true our BCs. Hopefully this makes sense to you guys. Again, if I can just really quick cover this, here's the way I do it. First things first is you're gonna put in wind direction and wind speed for aerodynamic jump, even at 100 yards. Get the angle you're zeroing the gun at. The phone's gonna grab the pressure, temperature, and all that stuff. You're then gonna shoot it, zero it. If you don't have a perfect zero, tell the solver that yes, you're 100 yard zero, but you're 1/4 inch high, 1/4 inch left, whatever. Let it take care of that for your zero height and zero offset. At that point, you shoot it, get a perfect zero, set your scope to 0, set your clutch, use chronograph velocity, you're now good. At that point, you will then re-grab the compass direction and the inclination of the far target, and then you will make sure the wind's in there. You will shoot it until you hit what you're aiming at, and don't do it just once. Make sure you got about 3 or 4 good shots on there so that you got a good group out there to go off of. And you'll dial until you hit it. You will then go on the solver and say it took me this many minutes or this many mils. The solver will automatically readjust your ballistic coefficient, hit set, check it at close range, check it at intermediate range, and then check it back and forth. And at this point, you should be good to go. Hopefully that explains it. Hopefully you guys understand. It's really easy to set your ballistic coefficients if you do it right. All right, this is James at Barber Creek. Thanks for watching.